All praises to the Most High. This is what do I call this? This stroking indictment moment. I want to indict this group Israelites for double teaching. Now I want you to see in the video where Deacon Asap, Bishop Asap, whatever his name is, the guy to the right of the screen. And so he's teaching something different from what they were teaching at first and what the Bible is teaching. He's teaching that only Gad and Reuben was here in North America when the conquistadors, when the Edomites began to come over here. They're not, and what am I saying? They are no longer teaching that the 10 tribes were here when the conquistadors got here. They're saying it was only 3 tribes: Ephraim, which is Issachar, Gad, and Reuben. That's who they're calling the Native Americans. Where they get that teaching from, where they get that from, is they're adding to the Bible. They're adding to the Bible right now, and I want them to get this. I want them to get this message because they are adding to the Bible. But Deacon Asaph, is that his name? I used to know his name, but I haven't done this in so long. But he steps up to teach that. Make sure this video is recording. Let's see. Is it recording? Yeah, I think it is recording. Yeah, it's recording. Okay. He stepped up to say that that 1492, that movie, well, about Columbus coming to the Americas, he said they knew, you're going to see it, he said they knew that and Gad, Reuben, and what was the other tribe? Well, anyway, that's what they say. And Issachar was here. So, in other words, he's saying that the other 6 tribes has already scattered themselves on the islands. On the islands. Okay, that's what he's saying. They had already left America. Where I'm not even sure that they believe that all the 10 tribes originally came over here to North America, like the scripture in Second Ezra 13 and 40 says. Second Ezra 13, 40 through 46 reads. So I'm thinking they believe that they spent a year and a half crossing the ocean, coming over here, and then as they came over here, they began to read. I guess they began to read in in Genesis 49, where all the tribes will be in the last days, and they begin to go and place themselves in the particular locations that Jacob was telling his children, his 12 sons, where they would be in the last days. That's the only thing they could be referring to. That's the only way this makes sense. What they're saying is that they placed themselves on those islands. They separated from each other and went to those islands because that's Bible prophecy where they would be. So I'm thinking they're saying now that they went to those islands themselves, and then Columbus and all the rest of France and all the rest of the Portuguese and China went to those islands and got them from there, from the islands they were on, and took them back and scattered them all over the world. So I like to see that in the scripture, but I want you to see this video so you won't think I'm lying. They jump around back and forth with this understanding because they don't want to be seen as wrong. So you appear stupid to keep from being seen as wrong. So we'll show you. We'll show you. We want to show you this video.
When you look at that film called 1492, The Conquest of Paradise, they knew about our records and they came over here, knowing that the real Jews were here, knowing that Gad and Reuben were here, and they were murdering them, knowing what the scriptures say in Ezra.
Did you hear what he just said? Gad and Reuben. Just two tribes were here when they got here. It was only two tribes were here. Can you believe this shit, man? And these the people we supposed to be following? Let's listen to it again.
I ain't got no lips. Go ahead, put up there.
When we look at that, when you look at that film called 1492, The Conquest of Paradise, they knew about our records and they came over here, knowing that the real Jews were here, knowing that Gad and Reuben were here, and they were murdering them, knowing what the scriptures say in Ezra's and all that. They knew that.
Exactly.
You know, mad at me, got your pink lips stuck out. I didn't write none of this. Your beak stuck. I ain't got no lips. Go ahead, put up there.
When we look at that, when you look at that film called 1492, The Conquest of Paradise, they knew about our records and they came over here, knowing that the real Jews were here, knowing that Gad and Reuben were here, and they were murdering them, knowing what the scriptures say in Ezra's. They knew about our records and they came over here, knowing that the real Jews were here, knowing that Gad and Reuben were here, and they were murdering them, knowing what the scriptures say in Ezra's and all that. They knew that.
Exactly. Go ahead. Now see, how can we follow these people, man? How can we follow our brothers?
Fate of the Jews, a people torn between Israeli power and Jewish ethics.
Roberta Strauss, Fröhlich, whatever it is, that's them. I didn't write this. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm trying to get my yeah. I didn't want to. I want to say, how can we follow you when you guys don't know the direction to take us in? You're all over the place. It don't make sense that they split up and place themselves on those islands. After a year and a half, after coming to a new place where nobody had ever lived before, they didn't know the landscape, they didn't know the geographical location they were in, they didn't know anything, they didn't know what to expect, they didn't know the wild animals, what kind of animals was on this land. Because even if you believe in continental drift like I do, how else to explain animals in America after the flood? They wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known what kind of animals. This land had been here for years. They wouldn't have known what kind of wild animals to expect. So there's safety in numbers. They were not stupid. The Most High was leading them. They did not split up and go to those islands. There were 10 tribes here. There was over 300 million people here that had generated over 1,500 years. Way over 1,500 years. We generate in captivity 2 million people every 10, 15 years. If left alone, it would be way more than that. So it was over 300 million people here. That's the low ball end when they got here, right? That's the low ball end. So how these men are sitting up here saying,
to the conquest of,
how these men are sitting up here saying that there was only 2 tribes on this land is ridiculous. And they are the laughing stock. They are the laughing stock of the secular world and the unbelievers. And people who know the truth feel sorry for you, man. You guys are ridiculous. And how can we follow you? Seriously? How can we really follow you? and 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 you say that the only people that's going to go to heaven are people that's following you. You are ridiculous. Ridiculous.